when I began writing stories, books that had a supernatural aspect to them, I was not, didn't really understand the difference between paranormal and fantasy. I kind of used the terms interchangeably. Finally, I thought this is a genre thing and I need to really understand this. A paranormal is a story that is set in our world, looks like our world, except that there are monsters and witches and shapeshifters. There are supernatural beings that occupy it that most of us don't know about. And in a paranormal, they are there. A fantasy is maybe even another Earth, another world, somebody who was transported somewhere that isn't like our life is. So I like to write the paranormal. And the first one I ever wrote was called Sky Daughter. And it was a young woman who came back to her grandfather's mountain and discovered that there were things there that she had not been expecting. She was um, uh, trying to figure out what really was going on. And I had to decide that too. I debated this for about two-thirds of the book. Would the monster that she was feeling and seeing, or thought she was it real? Or was it a figment of her imagination? I finally did some research. I looked into books. I read stuff about the Native Americans, about people's experiences with monsters that they had come across somewhere along the way, and eventually that's what she was having to deal with, was a very real monster. It was quite a while before I wrote the next paranormal, and that one came because I had a cat that I loved a great deal. She died way too young, and the night she died, after she had died, I asked for a dream that would tell me if reincarnation was true, because I was hoping I would get her back. I thought I had in the past, that she'd come back to me twice. So the dream that night, though, had nothing to do with my cat, but it was about reincarnation and spirit guides. And I knew the next morning that it was a potential book, and I wrote that book called When Fates Conspire as a novella. And that led to two more about the supernatural world and the characters that kind of, each book stands alone, but they all are tied together by a canyon. And I decided that I would create also a straight out novel that would have all three of these books in it, and including the sexuality that I don't put into novellas because there just isn't room. You know, a novella doesn't have a lot of space for this kind of thing. So I didn't have any idea there was going to be another paranormal, but we were driving, my husband and I, through Barrio Viejo, which is a really nice neighborhood in Tucson that's old and has a lot of history to it. It has a wishing shrine called El Terradito. That's how I first found this place. And I thought, what if I had a story where the heroines all were natural born witches? They were born with the talents and the skills, and each story would stand alone. There would be romances. There would be four sisters, their mother. That makes five romances. And of course, the grandmothers and all the other characters that would occupy this area and would make for this supernatural type of book, a set of books. I've written three of them, and now I'm working on the fourth. That takes a lot of research to do these kind of books. I want to think about it and put in things that are helpful, but make it fun also. Anyway, that's where I am now, and more paranormals on the way.